to Hollywood.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office. And now, behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry
Hot
Show.
mic? Yeah, it is hot.
No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans,
Quit stepping on the opening.
Not what
Kennedy's
your country
talking right
can
now,
do
dang
for
it.
you. Ask what you can
And I
do
don't mean
for
Ted.
your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yeah, baby.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody.
It's supposed to be a
The only
Republican
thing
debate.
we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest
Absolutely.
man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man.
You tell him, Martin.
Mine
God
eyes have
bless
seen
you.
the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles?
Yes, I've been living for 30 years with this face in Hollywood.
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KRTX.
Yeah, well, welcome you all to the Alan Autry Show. It's no retreat. My name's Amos McCoy, and I'm sitting in for my friend Alan. To my right here, I got Bullet Bob Leone. Welcome, Bullet.
Yeah.
And to the right there is Guillermo Moreno. Well, what do y'all think about the debate last Wednesday? It was embarrassing.
I got to take it seriously. Are you seriously right
You
now?
are sitting there worried on your show that I'm going to stay channeling Amos McCoy the whole show, aren't you? You think I'm in one of those woods? Well, I just might. All right, we're going to jump right into it. It's Friday. The debate was on Wednesday. Let's go through this thing. Guillermo, starting with you, going from left to right here. Wait, on your screen, that would be, yes, left to right on your Facebook screen, YouTube screen, Twitter screen. Give me a quick rundown, what you thought of the debate, and if anybody stood out. Let's start with that.
Vivek won, like I said he would, and he really didn't surprise me because for those of you that have been watching Vivek, you know the type of heat that he was going to bring. And the biggest thing, my overarching 30,000-foot view was this. On that debate stage, you saw a lot of establishment-y candidates. That is the old guard up there. Mike Pence, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Chris Christie, and you saw one millennial guy who didn't give up about respect, about decorum, and about waiting in line, which I thought made him absolutely
A typical millennial.
A typical millennial.
He doesn't want to serve this vice president or senator.
Well,
he wants to be president now.
Well, let me
I
take.
got my degree. I'm a millennial.
No.
Put me in the big seat now.
How come it's taking so long?
Okay. Well, I'm going to get back to you.
all right,
Bobby, give me your little. I want to hear this. What you have to. Bobby,
Vivek
give me
won, Ron lost.
Okay. All right,
I-
we're going to get back to that.
I agree. Ramaswamy, I thought was pretty darn good. But the biggest winner of the night, which may go without saying, was Donald Trump. He was the biggest winner.
And Vivek.
And we'll be talking about the mugshot. Don't worry, folks.
Losers, I think, DeSantis, Pence, and Tim Scott.
Everybody.
And
Bob,
everybody else.
Everybody.
Yeah, everybody else.
And the moderators.
And can I tell you how much?
And the audience.
Can I tell you how much I dislike? How much I dislike the guy comes across as
Ron?
Chris Christie.
Chris
This guy-
Crisco. Yes, he yeah.
Chris Crisco. This guy. Anyway, that's my nutshell.
You know, with Christie, it's just an aside. I want to get back to the thing, but I'm not body shaming, fat shaming at all when I say this. But I mean, everything. Climate change. He said he agrees with it, and if methane gas does actually contribute to climate change.
Yeah, you know where he's going.
The bigger you are, I know when I was 250, I emitted more methane than I do now at 215. No, it's not. Hey, it's not dirty or thing. It's just science. It's science. It's
Follow
a
the
biological science.
Follow the science.
And I'm saying, my gosh, imagine the carbon footprint he leaves. I'm nicknaming the Carbonator. He is now the Carbonator.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's up there, and he's the one that said, I do believe in climate change, and I am personally responsible. Well, how about starting, John Kerry, you stop flying your jet, and Chris Christie lose 100 pounds.
Oh, God.
Lose 100 pounds to show you're serious about climate change. But go ahead,
You're going to get emails.
Well, I'm not fat shaming. Obesity runs in my family.
Oh, my word.
Fat and business, like I said, I'll put it. When I was 250, I emitted more methane, ask my wife, than I do at 215.
I don't think it goes according to science.
Everybody does their little part. Stops farting less. We could clean this thing up in what, a couple of years? Couple of years, we would have climate change stabilized. No more hurricanes. No more hurricanes. No more wildfires. Now, you got to look at the science. Now, Guillermo, you wanted to say something.
Look at the science.
I can't stop laughing.
I want to see the science.
But you were eager to say something about. You guys want my analysis? I mean, I had to do that aside because obviously the Republican debate was so mesmerizing. Yeah, certainly that's what I was thinking watching this. Looking at Chris Christie.
And
carbon print. This guy's leaving.
Just because.
I mean, and tell me the truth. If you're up on that stage, you're in a couple of rows, and all of a sudden you smell something, and it's like, who is the number one suspect? It's just like Prigozhin getting killed in the play. Who's the number one suspect?
Yeah, we didn't see that coming.
You'd look up going, oh, gosh, Chris. It's probably Ramaswamy, or probably O'Burgum. He goes, I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm just going to let him know I'm present here. Cock it. You see him? I thought he was favoring that leg. He was just lifting up on one cheek there, letting one go, man. You're not going to call on me? I'm going to stop this debate right here.
Oh, my word.
All right, let's get back there.
Let me get this show back on the rails here.
Oh, gosh.
So, and you could say I'm right. I don't mind hearing it, but I told you guys it was the JV debate. Didn't I say that? Didn't I say it was a JV?
What did
debate?
I just tell you? It was a nothing burger.
It was,
to me,
I wouldn't say that, and I was right again when I talked about how Ron DeSantis just isn't ready for the moment. Ron DeSantis looked confused. He looked like he was in the wrong arena. He looked like a lightweight in a heavyweight fight, and that's really unfortunate. Who surprised me was Mike Pence being a little aggressive. You don't see Mike Pence aggressive. But here's the biggest takeaway I got: Don really won. Donald Trump won because when you think about it, and when everybody was thinking about these debates, we were thinking like, man, it's going to be a slaughter. Before Donald Trump pulled out, it was going to be 7 against 1. That was just going to be unfair. And here it ended up turning in to 1 against 7. Vivek Ramaswamy just beat the living daylights out of everybody. And if you're Donald Trump or anybody that supports Donald Trump, you're really happy because if Donald Trump ever gets back on that debate stage, it's going to be 2 guys who like to brawl against everybody else. If you're Donald Trump, you really love this millennial kid because he's going to go around and do your dirty work for you, kind of like what a vice president should do. So if I'm Donald Trump, I'm really happy I skipped it. And I'm real happy to walk on the next debate stage because you got Ramaswamy next to you. Those 2 guys are going to obliterate everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, I agree with you all. I think I'm going to be kind here. I think the Republican debate fell well short of the hopes of not only people on the right, but just people want to see the options out there. Because with Joe Biden, looks like he could be indicted. Looks like he could have both presidential candidates be running their campaigns from jail. It's you could end up that way. And again, that won't affect who I'm going to vote for. I'm here saying that because we've seen historical corruption. They talk about the historic nature of the 4 indictments. Never been done before. Well, we've never seen historical corruption at this level of the institution, district attorneys, of the Attorney General's office, of the FBI, working
DOJ.
like a RICO organization. Racketeering. The racketeering analogy applies more to what happened to Trump. I mean, and we have proof because, they fired Peter Strzok, who was part of this RICO conspiracy. James Comey. You got started with Hillary Clinton. And you can see the gangland activity, the conspiracy going down throughout an entire 4 years to take a duly elected president out. So, how can you support and get behind the fact that justice is being served? So how can you support somebody who's in prison. Well, how can you support a corrupt process? That's why 22% of the people still have faith in the institutions. That lack of faith is well earned. This is, the institutions in the South during the early parts of this country's 19th century and after the slaves were freed, the Emancipation Proclamation, but then you had the Civil Rights passages, laws in the 60s, but you still had institutions poisoned with racism, people going to jail with corrupt courts, corrupt justices, corrupt DAs. It's the same thing you have now. So that person that you railed against that was in jail because the system got them, I mean, the same, you trust the system in South Africa that put Nelson Mandela in jail, and you wonder why Nelson Mandela's supporters continued to grow, and you sit there in wonderment. Can't they see he was indicted by South African law, fair courts to Nelson? Well, it's the same thing here. People see through the corruption. But anyway, down the line there, I think, Asa, don't call me whole Hutchinson, I think was just a non-factor. I think he knows he's a non-factor. Makes some good sense, eloquent sense, as most politicians from the South can. Vivek, go drain the Swami Ramaswamy. I think he had some good moments there. I think they've been prepackaged a little bit too much. He needs to work on it. If you followed him, you've heard every line that he said last night on YouTube, on Fox, on CNN. To his credit, he's everywhere. He goes where boldly no Republican has gone before, into the inner cities and speaking to groups, far left groups. He's very just fearless in that factor. So I give him credit for that. Nikki, the Comet Haley, I give her a little bit of credit. I think she had something going until she completely tried to talk over Ramaswamy and out yell him. She came across as real shrill up to that point.
Came across as a Karen.
At that point, though, I think she was having a really good debate at that point. I am a free thinker, and if I'm going to vote for him, but I sit there and I'm going to be impartial. Check my impartialness at the door, and judge it. You don't have to do that as a mayor. You have your political preferences, this and that, but when somebody comes through there to talk to you about a project, I don't ask the Republican or Democrat. I'm going to judge you on the quality of your project and your proposal. Is it good for the city or not? And that's what I try to do in all of politics. Mike Pence, I agree with you. I think Mike had a better night than people expected. I think he's backtracking so much. He's contradicting himself on many things. I just don't think he's going to carry the day under any circumstances. No. And then I differ with Doug the Brow Burgum. He's right up there with Anthony Davis now. If I was his campaign, I'd call Anthony Davis and beg him for the endorsement. Vote for the Brows. You have him and Anthony do some gimmick.
He just needs to drop out.
But he did show up with a torn Achilles. He said later, completely torn. Tore that sucker. Ooh. Doug Burgum. He tore it in a 3-on-3 basketball game. There was talk that he may not show up, but they just pumped him up full of Percocet, and there he is with that brow there.
Let's immobilize that and get on stage. But then you had
Tim Great Scott just kind of lost in there. Yeah, didn't have a chance to have the moment.
Non-factor. Yeah.
Didn't hurt or help himself. Still, I think him and Ramaswamy have to break out some new material. Keep what you got to inspire. Tim, quit looking for any opportunity to tell your story about growing up black with a single mother. It's a great story, but you got to know when to tell it. And DeSantis, I don't think he had a great debate, but the polls are showing it didn't hurt him that much. Now, Ramaswamy, in the first poll that's come out, DeSantis is at 26%. Ramaswamy's at 24%. So you had almost a doubling of that. So he's feeling, don't look back, somebody may be gaining on you. But DeSantis didn't plummet. I think DeSantis had a perfect opportunity. They all did. To play above it, above the fray. If I was handling those folks, I would have said, look, this thing's going to turn into a doo-doo show pretty quick. Because you got Crisco out there. You've got Pence fighting for his life. You just follow it. You got Nikki Haley. She's the only woman on the stage. She's going to come after the men, and she did with her one-liner. You, even just to say nothing for a while, just stay cool. And here's the thing about acting lessons you learn, that you're communicating with other things besides just your voice, the word you're saying. DeSantis was jumping around, moving around. Stand tall, stand strong.
Yeah.
Deliver your message, quiet your body, okay, and be above the fray. And then I'll put it this way. I think the event, I think I texted you on this, obviously was too big for them You've
Yeah.
seen rookie quarterbacks that come on the scene. They say, "Is the event the Super Bowl too big for them? Is the event is it too big? Can they handle the pressures?" All 8, the event was too big for them. Why? Because they were all so eager and so hyped to get their answers out. It was better to say something that people are going to go, man to that woman is pretty darn cool. They're cool and collected. We see what's going on. They're above it. And take a moment, even if it's your own 30 seconds, going, I just like to take my time right now. Guess what DeSantis should have said before? I'm going to follow my advice here. I'm excited about being here. I want to communicate my message to the rest of the people, just like all y'all. But you got to stop talking over the moderators. I do. We just make a pact right now. Let's start acting like adults because we got kids watching us right now. Let's make a difference between us and the other party. When they get together, they're yelling, screaming at each other's throat. We're better than that. We can get our message apart. If we don't get our whole message out, we have other debates coming.
Well,
that's it. They would have got to. Right then, you win the debate. DeSantis had the chance to do that. I think that was yes.
Yeah.
He came across as the most solid. He's going to be, and right off the bat, you could see that it was happening. The doo-doo show was happening. It was a circular firing squad, and that's what Kennedy had, what Reagan had. They had the great leaders that we've known in our lifetime have had, and ones that we've read about have had. And then I'd like to ask you this question because I think they missed it, Bobby, big time. You all heard this. Most of you, I think, have heard this song, Rich Men North of Richmond. That's referring to Washington, D.C., which is about 100 miles north of Richmond. And Richmond has a lot of middle-class people there, hard-working people, blue-collar workers. Well, this guy, Anthony somebody, I forget his name. Anthony Oliver wrote this song. Last count I saw was 40-something million in less than 2 weeks of hits. And Martha McCallum asked a question. And I'm going, okay, here we go. We're gonna see now who is politically adroit enough, who's calmed their mind enough to be able to grab this and explain what that song has meant to millions of blue-collar workers, middle-class people who feel that nobody's paying attention to them, that they've been left behind, that nobody is fighting for them in Washington, D.C., while they slowly die on the vine, inflation killing them day after day, schools that don't work. They had a chance to articulate that, and every single one of them blew it. I think 5 or 6 of them there haven't even heard the song.
Yeah.
So my point, where was the moments? You have not heard it?
I've heard.
You need to listen.
I haven't sat through the full. I've heard snippets of it, but I haven't sat yet.
Listen to the whole thing because it is a anthem. Even if you're the far left, listen to this because it helps you understand the real, authentic nature of their grievance of folks who feel like they've been left behind. They can't understand Trump. Why do these people still support Trump? Because they feel he's the only one that still supports them. And they'd rather support a guy in prison than the ones that don't represent or watch out for them in this world. And there's millions out there. They're not just hillbillies out there. There's people in the inner city, and they're quickly getting a mass exodus from African Americans from the Democratic Party and Latinos and Latinas from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party or independents. And that song represents their grievances, their complaints, their heartbreak of the system just leaving them behind and not addressing them as they would the hillbilly who sang it. Now, I'm not using that as disparaging. I'm a hillbilly in my heart. And you need to listen to that song, and that'll help you. Anyway, you haven't heard it. So, okay. So you think I'm just quickly want to go into the mugshot.
Yeah.
Okay. I really want to talk about this. We know what you're talking about. The mugshot. I think DeSantis. I think I'm giving these folks the benefit of the doubt that this was the first scrimmage. If any of y'all played athletics in any sport, you have your first scrimmage, whether it's football or volleyball. Or when you're up there and you have your first competition, if you will, on a stage with people watching and all that stuff. First game, your exhibition game, what have you. it usually is pretty ragged. Okay. I don't expect them to perform like it's the Super Bowl. I think you probably won't see really robust of debates, substantive debates, until the field is whittled down to about 4 or 5, maybe. Most likely 4, you get it.
When does Trump show up?
I don't think Trump is going to show up.
Ever.
I think
Any debate.
No, I don't think he needs to.
What is it? Yeah.
He has
Why?
he has his record to run
Why
on.
does he need to show up?
Well, I agree. I just don't like the precedents that we're setting.
I think 8 people. Was it 8 people the other night? There's too many on one stage. Getting back to your nonverbal communication, Haas. This was a GOP presidential debate, wasn't it? A candidate's president. Then why not act presidential? I mean,
it was there for you.
It's there.
I mean,
it's
all
right
8
there.
of them had a chance to take it.
Exactly.
They were all like starving dogs in a meat house, waiting for the best word, talking over people.
Be presidential.
Like I said, Haley blew it.
That should make an impression.
I mean, Haley,
wouldn't it?
Yes. And Haley was passionate. She had separated herself from the pack until she made the decision, as Ramaswamy sat there and listened to her, give her allotment of time and give her thoughts. Went to Ramaswamy. He didn't get 5 words out of his mouth till Haley started talking over him.
Yeah.
And talked over him his entire time.
Well, he hit her pretty good when he said,
but he didn't interrupt. You don't interrupt people.
But she just,
you don't interrupt people like that.
Yeah, I agree. She lost her cool when he said that. Good luck on your future career with Raytheon and Lockheed. I mean, he just. I think she just.
Well, you know what she should have done? I would have told these people, and she'd say, "Well, and good luck on your participation in the pro tennis tour."
Yeah. That would have.
I mean, you. These
that would have been good.
Well, yeah, and you win the debate.
Yeah.
Everybody laugh. Where does Ramaswamy go?
Oh, he would. Yeah, and you're right.
These people get in there, they lose all concept of being human, of what people want to see in a leader. They want to see a leader, number one, they can trust, at least to a certain degree. You're not going to get somebody, I trust that politician 100%. I loved Reagan. I didn't trust him 100%.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was sending things to Iran-Contra when he said he didn't know anything about it. Yeah, right, Ronnie. But, but there was a level of trust that I had with him. Push comes to shove, he was going to do what's right for the United States of America. But you look for poise under pressure. You look, and it's you got these people squeezing the death out of their goals. I got to have it. And I would use this analogy. What's one of the most precious things that you can think of? Let me just fill in the blank here. Is there anything more precious than a baby, little newborn baby? Very precious. Mm-hmm. Your newborn baby, you want. When they hand you or you reach to get that little newborn baby, you don't grab that baby. I love this baby. I got it. Anybody wants to take my baby from me? You don't squeeze the life out of it. You cradle that baby. You handle it gently. You take it the same way with a pursuit, in my mind, of a leadership position. Number one, you don't look desperate. You do your best, let God do the rest. There's a poise, a calmness that comes through that the people want to see. Because I got news for you. Ramaswamy was right. We're not in Good Morning in America. We're in a dark time. Yeah. Our institutions are under attack. And we need a poised leader that we can trust, that has a sense of humor and knows when to use it. Not like Biden going over to Maui. Because rule number one, when over 1,000 children have probably been incinerated, you don't make any joke.
Or joke.
No joke. 0 jokes. You go, I mean, that's just common sense 101. You go over there and you don't try to match their tragedy with
terrible.
And you saw a bunch of people on the stage. I'm not saying it's to that level, but just don't understand the common man and woman. And that's why they did not know how to answer that question. These men from the, rich men north of Richmond. I would have been like, then it's like, oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you for that question. Well, let me tell you why it resonates. This young man speaks for people, millions that have been left behind. That people think government does not care about them. Black, white, trans, gay. They feel the government has totally left them behind. They don't care about their needs. Gasoline, they can't put food on the table. Gasoline isn't affordable. Food isn't affordable. Rent isn't affordable. And they feel that the leaders of this country have left them behind. That's why this song hits that chord in so many Americans. Not one of them said anything close to that. And I lay that on DeSantis. I don't know if DeSantis has heard the song because I would think he's smart enough to say, man, if I get that question, oh, please, because I probably think, they're going to give the UFO question to Crisco. But they give me that one.
I want to knock that UFO question out of the park.
All right, let's take a quick break. We come back. You guys want to go to the mugshot? Or you got something else?
No, mugshot's fine.
Mugshot's fine?
Yeah.
This day in history.
I've had one.
Huh?
I've had one.
You had
Really?
a mugshot?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to put it on a T-shirt. God, Johnny, we just got God darn you, probably only I didn't know you had a mugshot. All right, this is Alan Autry, No Retreat, Free for All Friday. Don't you go away. We'll be right back.
Probably in about like 12 minutes. But you guys, the last section you guys can knock out. I'm gonna stay here, but
Oh, you're bailing on us?
no, in 12 minutes I will.
We're done in 12 minutes.
I don't know.
Are we done in 12? I think we're done in 12 minutes. That was a long segment.
What kind of time we got, Jimmy?
About 20 minutes.
Speed up that tape.
Yeah, let's do a good 12, and then you guys will.
Are they going to try to resurrect Bud Light? They said they're going to just advertise it on the NFL. Come on, maybe the next generation, but this generation, it's gone. Reintroduce it in about 20 years. Bring it back.
Well, the sad part about that whole thing is that the number of employees that have been put out of work because of the backlash against Bud Light from the Anheuser-Busch company.
Mm-hmm.
A
bad move when you bring politics in.
Yeah,
Somebody's beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't.
Never
People
a good thing. Yeah, never
don't want to get smashed and think about politics.
I had pulled up the lyrics to Richmond down in north of Richmond. I don't care for the guy's voice. There's something about it that just drives me crazy. So the vocal quality to me is an issue. But the lyrics are pretty interesting.
Bob, your average Joe doesn't have a studio.
I love his voice, but I understand you either like it or you don't. I can see people not.
I think he's trying to be like
all.
Chris Stapleton somewhat.
Yeah,
and there's only one Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
It's just like there's one Elvis.
I can see. People.
I just the quality's just not there for me. But the lyrics are pretty interesting.
It's like me and Ethel Merman.
And I can.
A lot of people like Ethel Merman, but it's not for me. Oh, God bless America. Whoa!
No, you're more like lyrics. You're more like Kate Smith.
Love the sweet home. God bless America. A lot of people like that.
Well,
I like it.
Huh? But I don't.
She sang the theme. She sang.
Was that Kate Smith or Ethel Merman?
No, during the.
What did I sound like? No, don't say it's stuck pig.
Okay. You sound like Fred Mertz. That's what you sounded like.
Hi, Ricky.
Talk about a grumpy old man. He was the poster boy. Poster boy, a grumpy old man, Fred Mertz.
You have to say, when I was watching a old All in the Family. Remember back in the day in the 70s, the chain letter? Did you ever get a chain letter?
I don't think so.
Oh man, folks, do you remember out there Facebook list? You would get a letter.
70s were a lost decade for me, so I don't remember a lot.
Where you'd get this chain letter, and the deal was it would say if you didn't send this chain letter to 20 more friends, something bad is going to happen to you. And if you did send this letter,
all right,
remember that one?
All right.
And if you send it to 20, if you do send it to 20, something good would happen to you. Well, Archie gets a chain letter. and he just don't tell me about something bad gonna happen. It's just a letter, Edith. Well, then things start happening to him.
He's thinking, oh,
yeah, it's a fun. We're ready to go. Okay, we got thumbs up. Here we go. That's it.
There's no story to this story.
No,
never mind.
You want a good laugh? Watch All in the Family tape. Gosh, they're funny.
What comedy used to be like.
Really. All right, we're ready.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
All right. The mug shot. The mug shot heard round the world. Donald Trump, the master of the meme. Get started. Okay, let's go with you, Guillermo. I know you're biting at the bit to give your little commentary on this. Is this the booking and mugshot of Donald Trump just a display of justice at work, or just another 10-point bump in the polls for him upwards?
They pretty much guarantee that he's going to be the next president of the United States. Yeah, the mugshot, I'm torn in the sense that the biggest thing that bothered me in the beginning was like, is he going to smile? Or is he not going to smile? And I'm like, well, what if I was ever mugshot? Would I smile or what?
No.
So I was thinking about that. And then when I saw it, I just said, man, he rehearsed it. You know he went to Melania and said, Melania.
Stood in front of the mirror and
Sweetie,
with the look.
when you're at that catwalk, show me the face that you do at the end of it. And you look, I want to look like that. Look, show me. Like this.
And the Zoolander. Oh, it's a face-off. Oh no, it's a face-off.
He took his face off.
So with that said, and nobody looks good in a mugshot, but Donald, he managed to get away with it.
Let me ask you something. I mean, he's going to use that picture of him juxtaposed besides Biden's pictures and say, who do you want facing off with Putin?
True.
Really? Who do you want facing off against Xi Jinping? Joe Biden. This picture of Joe Biden with ice cream zipping down his throat,
sleeping at a Maui thing.
Or this guy, the Don. I've already seen it. He said,
"Yeah,
hey, and gosh, the left CNN. I'm watching a lot of it, folks. Listen, I really have, with an open mind. I promise you, I'll discuss it with anybody. It's open because I'm thinking they're not as slanted, they're not as naive, they're not as closed-minded as I've heard. And I can't judge it on a snippet. I'm not going to watch a Fox 30-second snippet of a CNN something, say, see how dumb they are, or MSNBC, how Joseph. I need to listen. That's what I always tell people. Read the whole article. Listen to the whole interview before you make a judgment. Don't take a soundbite. So I've been watching a lot. And my goodness, these people sat there, Laura Coates last night with Axelrod and all these people and the chief investigator from January 6th going, look at this mugshot. Why would he look like that? He looks like he's just really, really, really upset. Yeah, you're trying to put him in jail forever. What in the world are you thinking? Want him up
the winner.
They're whistling zippity doo-dah out of his butt. He's being railroaded into prison, tried to by you corrupt media with your RICO co-conspirators to do that. And then they sit, and here's a key I want you to respond to this. The guy came in, this Bacardi Sellers. He says, why do these Trump supporters still support Trump after he's been indicted? He's been these charges. He's getting ready to face a trial. He's ready to face an impartial jury of his peers already. Are you kidding me? And you're saying, how can they still keep supporting him? And then John Dean of Watergate fame steps in and finally says it. If you still believe in Trump and you still believe in what he stands for, you need to go get under a rock right now.
Wow.
Hey, they finally said it out loud. And you could see the other panelists go, I can't say, well, John, you might have went too far because you're judging all the people. But if I do, I'm going to sound like a Trump apologist. I mean, you saw the pucker factor and all of those things. You couldn't stick a pin up their butt. But he finally said it out loud. That's the goal. Not to get Trump, but to run all of his supporters under a rock. And if you speak out ever against about freedom of speech, or you want to contest an election for any reason, the big, bad federal machine is coming after you, just like Putin went after Prigozhin.
Yeah. Well, it's not ironic that you say that. And I think I've told you this before on the show. I said, listen, they tried to impeach him. They tried to twice. They're now trying to indict him. They're trying to, essentially.
They already did.
But yeah, they 4 times. Yeah. They want to put this guy in jail. When that fails, what's left?
Well, if you ask Tucker Carlson, he has a theory.
And Tucker Carlson said that's the ultimate way to stop
Well, if you put somebody in jail that's 78 for 778 years, Is that not a death sentence?
Well,
So you have, in essence, killed him.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to serve jail time.
Did you ever think about it? Close your eyes and go back a few years. Robert, would you ever think we would even be here when you take low-level misdemeanors at best and morph them into second, third, fourth degree felonies that carry with it 778 years?
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah, I still don't see it. I don't know. How does it even work? I mean, he's a former president of the United States. He has security detail. What are they going to do? Just stay in the cell with him? I mean, they still have to protect the guy. He still is entitled to federal protection. So, but here's my overall feeling. I don't want to see a mugshot of any president. It's almost as if these men deserve more dignity. I don't want to see a mugshot of Joe Biden. I never wanted to see a mugshot of Hillary Clinton. I don't want to see a mugshot of Barack Obama or Bill Clinton. You serve our country in that position. You deserve the utmost respect. And I'll say it. I don't care. I'm tired of people saying no one is above the law. You got money. You're above the law. Let me just, you know what? Let's just come out and say it.
He's a billionaire.
Yeah. What? And just rich people. So let's just.
Well, he's a billionaire, and he's a few steps away from possibly going to jail, depending on the type of jury they get.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's my view.
So it's whether how poor you are or how rich they are when they're coming after you.
Well, that's
with
my
the full weaponization of the criminal punishment.
Yeah,
that would be my point.
But here's my point of saying that anyone that has served our country in the highest office of the land, you are above the law, and you should be above the law. I'm not saying you go around killing people, but there is a different process that's due to you. You're not a regular citizen, and that's why I apply that to any president, Obama, Bush, everybody that has served in that. You don't deserve this type of treatment.
I agree.
Biden doesn't. If we find out,
I disagree.
I agree, but we're not living in those times anymore. We're just not living in those times.
I don't think we would ever want to live in those times. I don't think we ever have. If you are going around as a vice president and personally enriching yourself and family by selling American policy to foreign countries, including the third most corrupt country on the face of the earth, Ukraine, you're doing stuff like that. You need to be prosecuted. That can be proven. You go in and contest an election, and you have gray area in the law, and you have a lawyer, in this case Eastman, saying this is not clear in the law that you can't do this in terms of electors and all this other stuff. You try to find everything you can within the law to change something is different than a president or vice president going around and having prosecutors fired in a corrupt country who wants to end corruption because you have a son on the board. And I tell you, if that was Donald Trump in that position and Don Jr. was on the board of Burisma and Donald Trump said, you either fire the prosecutor or you're not getting $1 billion of American money, I would have a problem with it. If they did that, you cannot, it is not then you become down the road of Putin. You go down the road of Xi Jinping. Because what you're saying is, if I get the presidency, I have the break the law card. Nobody can do anything about it. That's why they have impeachment for high crimes and misdemeanors. If they felt the president was above the law, you would not have impeachment processes in the Constitution to hopefully help not have what they had in England.
Very true.
Where you had somebody take charge. So they recognized that the president couldn't be above the law. That we're talking about a total miscarriage of justice with Trump here. Made up laws, made up violations of laws that don't exist on every single. And then you're trying to take the thought. Here's where it gets real scary. I don't have to look into Biden's mind going, did he think about what was his thought process when he said fire the prosecutor? He had no business telling a country that's investigating corruption not to do it.
But he didn't break the law.
Oh, gosh, he did. You can't go around selling personally for the impersonal enrichment. Reagan couldn't finance a war or the Iran-Contra and take home money from those arms that were being sold to the Contras and put it in his own bank account or his son's bank account. This is old-fashioned mafia shakedown stuff.
It is.
That those laws, high crimes and misdemeanors against the president, were in the Constitution. They knew that was a possibility that the president could get drunk with power and do those sorts of things. but it's just like totally apples and oranges. I would think it's apples and walnuts.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even.
You laid it out nicely. I still disagree.
Boy, thank you.
I still disagree that Biden should.
Guillermo, just agree with me.
I disagree that Biden should ever see a jail cell or anybody in the office. The reality is, I totally get it. Our framers, impeachment, drunk with power. They don't want one executive to be that way. However, just like the framers didn't calculate a lot. I mean, when you're in the office of the presidency, you're calling shots every single day. You have sensitive information. You're doing things that probably later on that might be illegal or might not run counter or along parallel with the law. So when you leave office, you deserve heightened protection.
So
like Donald Trump and the documents.
Well,
case.
under your line of thinking, Bobby, under Guillermo's line of thinking, Nixon lying to the American people about the break-in and the cover-up at Watergate, he should not have resigned. He should have.
He shouldn't have. I agree.
What's your thought on that, Bob?
Well, I'm stumped. I don't know.
I don't think he should have resigned.
Well, what should he have done then? I mean,
apologize and say, "Do you think this is the only time an American president has ever lied to you? It was stupid. I was wrong, and you want me out of office? I'll see you in 3 years."
You have a point there, but the Republicans turned against him because the reason he couldn't get there, if he would have done it initially, hey, this happened. My people did it. They're no longer with me. I apologize. But what happened, he had this expansive cover-up, and he lied and lied and lied. And I voted for Nixon. I think he was a great president.
I agree.
Little thing about that race with Hubert Humphrey. Did you know that during that race, because during the Vietnam War, Johnson didn't run. The country was really divided. And Nixon won the election with 43.6% of the vote. Hubert Humphrey got 43% of the vote. George Wallace carried 5 states.
Wow.
And now hear this. 40% of the voting public stayed home.
Wow.
I think you could see something like that. People so dissatisfied, they just say, I'm going to stay home. I hope they don't.
You mean in 24?
Yeah. I don't think it'll be to that magnitude, but I could see kind of a reversal. People say. Anyway, your thoughts on well, let's say, hey, we got a few minutes left, and Guillermo's got the mugshot, Bobby. We haven't gotten your opinion, I don't think. Maybe you did, and I was too busy being silly and
stupid.
Well,
I was thinking with Guillermo's impression of Donald Trump and
it's fantastic.
how he was going to take the mugshot. Can you see him sitting in front of a mirror and saying, "How's this look? How's that look?" Or anything?
Melania, look.
Yeah,
look.
Exactly. Is this the good look? Oh, that was terrible.
How about
I'll do Melania.
That's a good one. How about Trump as a pastor? Starting off with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father who art in heaven. Heaven's a beautiful place. So we got gold running.
Streets of gold.
Hallowed be thy name. No greater name than Jesus. Well, even greater than mine. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done.
Like
on
Trump Tower.
What is the mugshot? What's the mugshot going to do for him? What's the mugshot going to do?
Lord, you gave me a sense of humor. Please don't hold that against me. It was not done as blasphemy. Go ahead.
I think the mugshot is certainly going to solidify the people who are already on Trump's side. Is it going to affect or impress the independents, the folks who are on the fence? Do you think they're going to come over and say, "Hey, enough of this guy being persecuted"?
No, I think it's the silliest notion. That's why I just shake my head in wonderment that CNN, MSNBC, all of these woke left organizations, I hate to say that, but you are what you do, as Forrest Gump's mom says, stupid is what stupid does.
Mm-hmm.
And you think that this kind of shaming, and every time you turn around, the historical first indictment, historical second, historical third, historical fourth, the historical mugshot, the historical people have this figured out. You make yourself look so silly, and it's insulting. You sound like Kamala Harris trying to explain what the passage of time is. That we're all children. Now, isn't it really bad for America and really disgraceful that for the first time our president has had a mugshot? Well, it's the first time a president has had to face such a corrupt cabal of systems out to get one man and forget the rule of law. I tell you, I counted it up the other day. Over 80% of the people involved in this legally should be charged with RICO violation laws. They should be the one being investigated, and they may.
Yeah.
If the Republicans win, they may. Once again, the woke left is exactly what they accuse Trump and the far right of doing. They do exactly themselves. Russia, he's colluding with Russia because of $200,000 worth of Facebook ads. You see how the military's going, that they're this high-tech threat to the democracy. They were able to break into the voting machine somehow and get Clinton. You do it, yet you have clear indication, clear evidence that it was Hillary Clinton colluding with the Russians. The Steele dossier, they talk with Russians, got the information from Russia, which was all fake. Why? It's not me saying that. It's Mueller saying that. The other report from the guy is saying that. 2 impeachments to go. And they did. They colluded with the Russians, not Trump. And they do it every single time. I tell you, if you were a gambling person and you wanted to say, what is the actual Democratic policy? What exactly are they doing? What is their strategy? Just look what they're criticizing the Republicans and saying that the Republicans are doing. That's what they're doing. Discarding the rule of law, discarding the Constitution, discarding democracy. That's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. What do we have? Just a couple of minutes left, and you've got to get going. Well, this whole show's got to get going. Who wants to file? You didn't. We still haven't gotten your mug. Does it hurt him or help him with the mugshot? I mean, overall. Let's think for the overall. Say he is the nominee, and it's him versus Biden. That mugshot's everywhere, and it comes to issue. Of course, Biden's going to use it.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't think it makes any difference.
Yeah, I agree. Net neutral.
At this point,
net neutral.
People that like him are going to love him. People that hate him are going to hate him. People in the middle are going to be like, "Well, I mean, we knew it was coming." It's taken the sting out. He's been arrested. He's been booked. He's been mugshotted. What comes next? The trial. What happens during trials? Nobody cares.
Does cameras because you can have cameras in Georgia now. Trump wants to change that venue to Washington D.C. I say no, because he's got himself this lawyer. Zadow, I forget his last name, but this guy. He's 38 years old. He's a really good lawyer. He's gotten success after success. And you get a good lawyer in there trying this case, I think it benefits it to be televised.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. I look at January 6th. Remember the hearings, the committee? I mean, they were so reared up, ready to go. I mean, it was a travesty of everything. And then you finally saw everybody on camera. And you're like, huh? That's
exactly.
It?
Well, that's what you do when you try to make something out of nothing. When you try to put a lipstick on a pig. When you try to say that this riot, where a few knuckleheads went out of control, is an armed insurrection by 100,000 crazy MAGA supporters. Yeah. No, there was a small group of Black Lives Matter folks that tore up buildings, killed people. Okay, actually, loss of life, policemen being really attacked and hurt. Now, I'm not apologizing for January 6th, but it's value for value I'm making here. No, it was that most of the BLM rioters were not violent. And CNN was quick to point that out on MSNBC. Yeah, a few of them went a little too far and destroyed businesses and fires and hurt policemen and killed innocent people. But the few that went knucklehead on January 6th is totally indicative of the hundreds of thousands who didn't go in. Mm-hmm. That if they could have had a chance, they would have went in. Well, I got news for you. They had the chance and they didn't. Yeah. They feel it's just as wrong as the left feels it's wrong to go that far. The problem is you all who support that BLM stuff don't admit it. That's the difference between the two parties as I analyze it, because I'm an independent. And I'll criticize the right when it's due, Republicans when it's due. But you guys are I have to sweat. The hypocrisy is so thick I can barely breathe when I hear you and your mouthpieces try to defend BLM and say it's righteous and that Kamala Harris was just and good and bailing out these rioters. I mean, these people that actually kill people. And then you demonize the whole MAGA movement because of the activities of a few knuckleheads. That's what I have to say on that.
Hey,
Guillermo, Robert, thank you for joining us. Love y'all.
Thank you, buddy.
Love y'all. God bless you. Just do your best. Let God do the rest. And good Lord willing, we're going to be here on Monday. Bye-bye now.
Keep smiling